So today I have a pleasure of hosting, as we call, Banks Chandra, who's a very inspirational entrepreneur. Started his journey back from India, now in London for many years. And I think I overheard him the other day talk about how he started his journey earning like 7,000 rupees at a point of time and didn't have enough money to even fly back home when he was sick. So I think the talk is going to be a lot about what does it take to be a successful entrepreneur, not only in your own country, but when you move from one country to the another, it's like adding more dimensions of uncertainty. So Banks, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to speak to us.
Thank you, Nikhil, and it's a pleasure always meeting you and sitting beside you. I think it's the other way around. I get more inspired by you, and I wouldn't call myself successful yet.
No, I think that's just, again, a trait of an entrepreneur who's humble and who's always looking to learn and grow more. So, just take us back to your journey, back to India, Jaipur, now in London. How did it all start, and where you are? Just walk us through that.
So, back in India, I was one of those kids who passed out in mid-90s from the school, and at that time, you have an option of two fields, either engineering or medical. And of course, your parents are your mentors and you respect them. They're like your God, right? So whatever they say, and I'm a sibling of three, and whatever they say, I used to just follow their advice all the time and listen to my eldest sister as well. So I went for engineering, and I chose a particular university, which is now IIT Roorkee. At the time, it was University of Roorkee. And the reason I chose that university was sports. Even though I got admitted in civil engineering, then I moved into chemical, I graduated, and then I was thinking of further studies in the US, but suddenly the IT market changed. Companies like TCS, Wipro, Infosys, Cognizant, they were hiring engineers of all kinds, just looking for that logical brain, and then give them programming training, and then ship them across to abroad. So I worked with TCS for 6 months, and yes, you rightly remembered, one of my first jobs was in the southern part of India, and as you know, India is huge, and every part of the country is very different. It took time for me to adjust, and I had jaundice. And then I didn't have money to even fly back home, but my friends at that time, they tried to help me, but I think they bought me a very expensive ticket. It took a few months to pay that debt. But like, that's how you learn. But of course, they were thinking about my health more than anything else.
Yeah, now you can pay them back, right?
I've done that enough. So then I came to Scotland as one of my first assignments, working for RBS, then worked with Abbey National, Santander Bank, and then American Express. Maybe that's why my parents thought my name should be Banks, Bankim, because I worked for all the financial institutes. And then while I was at Amex, HTML was pretty much new. And then I thought, programming is programming. Let me see what is HTML. I was a COBOL DB2 mainframe programmer, and then I learned about HTML, websites. I thought, oh, we can do it. It's input, output. You put in parameters, you put in whatever in the websites, and it comes out as a report or another form or whatever, it goes in a database. So, and then my brother moved just before here, just to the UK, just before 9/11. And the IT market went down. So I was playing squash one day with a friend, and he said, Bankim, can you do a website for my dad? He's a venture capitalist in London. He's looking to revamp his website. So we got one of that project. I was buying my first flat in Brighton, so I spoke to the estate agent. I said, do you need a website? And then I was talking to the solicitor. I said, do you need a website? And that's how the journey started. And then I got married. My wife got involved in the business. She was going for all the marketing meetings, breakfast meetings. So we all worked together at that time. And then that's how it started. But I would say last couple of years, Nikhil, have been very challenging with COVID. Never gets easy with business, as you know. but I still enjoy. I think the most thing what I enjoy is meeting people, individuals through whom you can learn. Even one or two things makes a big difference. And I believe in following my mentors. I've still got my mentors from Amex or from my school days, and I still talk to them one-to-one and listen to their advice. So
it's been a fabulous journey. And by their own websites, I think we wouldn't say we paid those people to tell you about the website to start the stuff, but it's wonderful because obviously, we are in the business of helping people come online, and I think the role of website has really become even more important now, because ultimately that is your single source of truth about who you are and how you represent, in this kind of madness of social media, which is great, but your website is your website.
I call it as a web system, because it's more complicated these days. You've got a front end, you've got a back end, you've got a database, so much interaction with other systems, so much data flowing. So it's more like a system. It's like different programs connected together. And of course, we do apps, we do a lot of CRM systems like Salesforce, HubSpot. We do e-commerce, Magento, Adobe, Shopify, CMSs, Drupal, WordPress.
So the whole ecosystem.
We're just over 900 people across 3 development centers in Jaipur. Then we are based in London Bridge here and Brighton, and we have got offices in Melbourne and US as well.
So truly global in one sense now, at least in the major markets.
Yes, it's and always trying to look for newer markets as well. I've got a couple of European markets I want to target into this year. So the research is going on at the moment, and luckily at this event I met someone who might be able to help through that R&D on that market.
Great. And I think I'm glad I know the word banks also, so I have a good friend now if I need something from the banking. But I think the other thing I wanted to kind of conclude on was, I think knowing you a bit now, I think important lesson for entrepreneurs also to kind of keep balancing your life with wellness activities. I know you're an avid tennis player, we talked about it, and I think just a perspective on, because a lot of time when you're running on your journey, right, you forget everything else and you go mad after your goal, and then your health suffers, your mental, physical, psychological health, which is becoming more and more important, especially in what's happened the last 2 years. Perspective on that, right? How do you, just some advice, some perspective that it's very important?
It is very important to have that balance. See, people like us, Nikhil, if we want, we can work 50 hours a day, right? Yeah. There is no limit. So I'm blessed with 3 kids. So I like to do the school drop-off in the morning and try to spend whatever time is left when my wife keeps them away from studies or some activities. So my wife is quite dedicated in terms of keeping them busy with dance, different classes, etc. And then of course I like to play sports at least once or twice in a day and have that balance. And my target is before I get 50 this year, I want to play recathlon, which is a sport of 4 racket sports, starting from the smallest one to the biggest one: table tennis, badminton, squash and tennis. All you play consecutively with an opponent. So I hope you can join me as well, Nikhil, for that.
As far as I'm not playing against you in tennis, I'll take that.
So yeah, the work-life balance is important. I try to tell my colleagues the same as well, because the productivity increases if you have that balance. And as I always say, I'm blessed in the office, I'm surrounded with the right people. They're very positive. They give me energy to do more, because you need that kind of environment. And if there are any dissatisfactions, we try at dot squares to remove that dissatisfaction and make the environment positive.
Wonderful, Banks. Thank you for sharing your journey and some of these important lessons for entrepreneurs. And we wish Dot Square success in new markets as it's entering, and also enabling, I think, the businesses which you call the web system, right? I think that's the biggest, I think with digitization at 10x, it's only going to get more and more bigger than where it is now.
It is. Thank you very much, Nikhil, for your time as well, and great to speak with you as always.
Thank you, Banks.
Thank you.